What if I told you the thing slowing your nerve healing the most is sitting under your kitchen sink right now? There's a hidden saboteur inside millions of homes that keeps nerves inflamed, overactive, and unable to heal. And most people use it every week thinking they're protecting their family. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that is and how to remove that roadblock so your nerves can finally start healing again. Coming up. Welcome back, Health Warriors. Dr. M here. You've heard me say it again and again. Nerves are the slowest healing tissue in the human body. When a nerve is damaged, it heals at a rate of about 1 millimeter per day, which is roughly 1 inch per month. And when you consider that your body contains over 90,000 miles of nerves in your entire nervous system, you start to realize just how big a repair job that really is. So if healing is already this slow, not to mention energy intensive, then anything in your environment that interferes with that process matters. So today, we're going to talk about one of the most overlooked, underestimated obstacles to nerve healing that I see in my neuropathy patients over and over again: the insecticides and bug sprays used inside your own home. Let's start with the most common one. Those bright cans you see at every store, Raid, Ortho, Hot Shot. The ones that promise kills on contact. The active ingredient in most of those sprays is something called pyrethroids. Now, you'll often hear these described as natural because they're derived from a compound found in chrysanthemum flowers. But here's the part most people aren't told. Pyrethroids are not natural. They're synthetic, meaning they're man-made in a lab. They've been chemically modified for potency and shelf stability, so they last longer and work faster. And that modification is exactly what makes them far more toxic to mammals, including us, and especially our children and our fur babies. And here's why that matters for your nervous system. Pyrethroids target sodium channels in the nervous system. Those are the exact electrical channels your nerves use to send signals. So when you're exposed to an insecticide like pyrethroids, instead of those sodium channels opening and closing in a balanced rhythm, they get stuck in an open position, which causes your nerves to go into an electrical overdrive. Now, layer on what the research shows. This happens next. We see oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, and neuroinflammation. Now, let's pause here just for a second, because this is really important to understand. Your mitochondria are like tiny power plants inside every single nerve cell. They produce the fuel called ATP, the energy that your nerves use to repair themselves. Every time a damaged nerve tries to regrow or a Schwann cell tries to rebuild myelin, every time your nervous system tries to calm inflammation, it all runs on mitochondrial energy. So what happens when a chemical like pyrethroid comes in and disrupts those power plants? Well, you don't just get irritation, you get an energy shortage. And when your nerves don't have enough energy, they can't repair, stabilize, or be calmed. So instead of healing, they stay in this state of overfiring and inflammation. And that's when people experience the very symptoms you tell me about every day: burning, tingling, crawling sensations, and nerves that just don't seem to settle down. And all of this can interfere with nerve regeneration. So, the very thing you use to kill spiders, ants, or roaches might be one of the reasons your nerves feel like they're on fire at night when you try to go to sleep. And if you think the sprays are the only concern, I want you to think again, because the second product most people use inside their home is even more deceptive. Let's talk about those little black bait stations, the ones you slide under the refrigerator, behind the stove, or inside cabinets. Many of those contain a chemical called fipronil. Fipronil works by blocking something called GABA-gated chloride channels. Now, let me explain that in simple terms. GABA is a calming neurotransmitter in your brain and nervous system, and it acts like a set of brakes. It helps your brain and nerves calm down after they fire, and it quiets inflammation. It prevents your nervous system from going into overdrive. So when a chemical blocks that braking system, your nerves lose their ability to settle and regulate. In insects, that leads to rapid death. But before you begin cheering, in mammals like us and our four-legged friends, it creates a slower, more subtle pattern of chronic neurological overstimulation. And here's what that looks like in real life. Nerves that feel jumpy or overreactive, heightened sensitivity to touch or temperature, burning or buzzing sensations that come and go, muscles that twitch or won't fully relax, and sleep that feels light, restless, or easily disrupted. It's a nervous system that can't quite find its off switch. Now, if you already have peripheral neuropathy, this can amplify everything. The burning can feel more intense, the tingling can spread or linger longer, sensitivity to touch or temperature can become more extreme, and even something as simple as a bedsheet brushing your feet can feel uncomfortable or painful. Since your nerves are already vulnerable and the system that's supposed to calm and regulate them is being blocked, they stay in this loop of irritation, hypersensitivity, and overfiring. And when your nervous system is stuck in that kind of constant overstimulation, it's incredibly difficult for your body to shift into a state of repair and regeneration. Now, at this point, some of you might be thinking, but I don't touch those baits with my bare hands. I put them out with gloves and they're hidden from sight. So how could that possibly affect me? Well, here's what actually happens with bait stations. The bait inside doesn't stay sealed away. It's meant to be eaten and carried by insects. So roaches and ants go into the station, pick up the bait, then they walk back out into the room and into their hiding places. As they travel, they can leave behind tiny traces on the surfaces they walk across, along baseboards, under appliances, inside cabinets, and on the floor. Those small traces over time become part of the normal house dust in those areas. Then you have air movement, foot traffic, sweeping, and pets moving through the space. All of this moves those fine particles around the home. So even though the bait station sits in one location, trace residues can end up on the surfaces you interact with every day. Now, I already know what your next thought is. Okay, but we're talking about tiny microscopic amounts. Surely that can't affect my nerves. Well, health warriors, here's the key principle. The nervous system doesn't just respond to large exposures. It also responds to small exposures that happen repeatedly over time. And when you have small chemical exposures happening day after day, week after week, those exposures can begin to accumulate in the system. And over time, that accumulation can start to distort the way your nerves send signals and communicate. You can get signals that are noisy, exaggerated, or misfire. And that's when people experience increased burning, more persistent tingling, heightened sensitivity, and nerves that won't fully calm down. It's like trying to listen to a radio station when there's constant static in the background. This is the obstacle to nerve repair and regeneration. And this isn't just about affecting you. It's affecting every nervous system in your home, including your dogs, your cats, and any beautiful furry or feathery companions you share your space with. Your fur babies live on your floors and then curl up right next to you at night. They're in that environment all day, every day. And in many cases, they're exposed at 4 to 8 times the level that you are. Because they're closer to the ground, they spend more time on those surfaces, and then they groom themselves. So those same residues we've been talking about don't just stay on the floor. They end up on their paws, on their fur, and ultimately in their bodies. And veterinarians are now seeing more and more cases of unexplained tremors, hypersensitivity, weakness, and other nerve-related symptoms in indoor pets. Many of those cases trace directly back to the very same products we're talking about today. So when we talk about removing these exposures, this isn't just about protecting your nerves. It's about protecting the entire nervous system of the environment of your home. the place where you heal, the place where your family rests, and the place where your animals trust that they're safe. And the beautiful thing is, this is something that you can change. You can protect yourselves from this. Now, here's the good news. You don't have to choose between protecting your home from pests and protecting your nervous system. You can do both. You just have to use methods that don't interfere with your body's healing process. So here are some safer, effective alternatives that work very well in real homes, and we use them in our home. The first one, diatomaceous earth, and you want to get one that's food grade. One of the reasons I love food grade diatomaceous earth is that it works mechanically, not chemically. And here's what I mean. It's not a neurotoxin and it doesn't interfere with your nervous system, which is why it's widely considered one of the safest pest control options for homes with children and pets when used properly. In fact, many people are familiar with food grade diatomaceous earth because it's used in wellness settings and it's often taken orally by adults, which speaks to its low systemic toxicity. But that's another talk for another day. So if your pets walk across an area where it's been lightly applied, where the diatomaceous earth has been lightly spread, or a little bit gets tracked around your home, you don't have to worry about the exposure like you would with chemical insecticides, like the ones that we've just been talking about today. The one thing I do want you to keep in mind is that it's a very fine powder, so you don't want it airborne where it can be inhaled. See what I mean? Okay, you want this powder to do its job without being disturbed. Used that way, it can be very effective in a family-friendly way. So you'll apply it lightly with very light coats around the house. And this will do an excellent job at controlling insects without adding chemical stress to your home. Number 2. Boric acid baits. If you need a bait style approach for things like roaches or ants, a much safer option than fipronil is boric acid used in enclosed tamper-resistant bait stations. Boric acid works very differently. Instead of overstimulating the nervous system like fipronil, it works more as a stomach poison for insects. They ingest it and it disrupts their internal systems over time. So it doesn't carry the same kind of neurotoxic impact that we're concerned about with the products we talked about earlier. Boric acid has actually been used for many decades in homes and even in medicine. And when it's used in small amounts in contained stations and placed out of reach of children and pets, it's generally considered a lower toxicity option for pest control. So if you do need a bait, look for boric acid-based stations instead of products containing fipronil. Place them in the same hidden areas, behind appliances, inside cabinets, along baseboards, so they do their job without adding that extra stress to your nervous system. For people who prefer a more natural repellent approach, let's look at this next category. Number 3, essential oils and plant-based methods. Plant-based repellents can be very effective, especially when you start them outside and make your home less inviting before insects ever get in. So let's talk perimeter strategy first. One simple option is peppermint planted around entry areas in containers, not in the ground, because they're aggressive growers and can take over very quickly. So keep them contained in pots and place them near doors, patios, and problem areas. Another helpful tool is cedar mulch or cedar wood chips placed in landscaping beds and along the foundation line of your home. Cedar has a naturally strong aroma that repels many insects, creating a less welcoming perimeter. Now, people also ask about catnip. Well, this can certainly help deter certain insects, especially mosquitoes, and your own cats will love you for this one. Fresh catnip also has health benefits for your cat's digestive tract. But if insects still make it inside, that's where essential oil repellents can be useful. Certain essential oils like peppermint, lemongrass, eucalyptus, and cedarwood can be effective as indoor repellents when properly diluted and used along entry points like windowsills, door frames, and baseboards. But I need to slow down here and say this clearly. Essential oils are not automatically safe just because they're natural. Some essential oils must be used very carefully around pets, especially cats. Cats have a limited ability to metabolize certain compounds in essential oils, and even small exposures can irritate them or make them sick if not diluted properly. However, there are some oils you should never use around cats altogether. These include oils like tea tree or melaleuca, eucalyptus, clove, cinnamon, oregano, thyme, wintergreen, and most citrus oils when they're in their concentrated form. Even small amounts of those can be irritating or unsafe for cats. So if you have cats in your home, the safest approach is to either skip essential oils entirely or use only very mild, properly diluted options in areas they can't access, and always monitor their response. But never ever use those dangerous oils that I just listed. And for any home with small children, the key also is proper dilution and smart placement. The goal is to create a gentle repellent barrier, not to fill the air with fragrance. Health warriors, if your nerves have felt stuck, if your healing has plateaued, I want you to do one simple thing tonight. Go look under your sink, look in your garage, and behind your refrigerator. Ask yourself, is there anything in my environment that could be quietly working against my healing? And just because your bug spray guy tells you that what he's spraying is natural, don't believe it. Get a list of ingredients directly from him or the manufacturer and look it up, because half the time they're not knowledgeable. Sometimes it's not that your body has forgotten how to heal, it's that there may be roadblocks standing in your way from your environment that you're not even aware of. And when you remove that interference, you can shift the entire flow of healing. Always remember, your body is incredibly intelligent. It just needs the right conditions. So, if this video helped you see your home and your health in a new way, please take a moment to like this and subscribe to our channel. Those simple actions really do help our channel grow and reach more people, so we can continue bringing you cutting-edge information and practical tools to support your nerve healing journey. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you stay up to date every time we release new videos. And if you know someone who is struggling with neuropathy, don't forget to share this with them, because this kind of awareness can truly change someone's path forward. I look forward to seeing you on the road to great nerve health. Blessings. Hi, you know as soon as we start rolling. What, is there like a secret radar that's sent out to you? You like the flowers?
It's like it's showtime.
Come here. Lily, come here. Come here. Hi, baby.